And Luis Sanchez Chiriboga is the vice chair of SAC and is a sophomore from Northwestern Connecticut Community College, majoring in liberal arts and science. He plans to transfer to a four-year institution to pursue psychological sciences. Welcome, Luis. Nice to have you. Just last week, the Connecticut Senate Republican leader Kevin Kelly appointed Aaron Stewart to the Board of Regents. The four-year term starts immediately. For those who don't know her, and I'm sure you all do, or you've read about her, and it's all good things, by the way, her background is impressive. She's currently mayor of New Britain, home to three CSCU institutions, Central, Charter Oak, and Connecticut State. And prior to that, she served as a member of the New Britain Board of Education. Her talents and expertise will be very welcome, and her service to public higher education in Connecticut is very much appreciated. She is also a proud graduate of Central Connecticut State University. Welcome to all three new regents. We love having you. And that brings me to my final note before I ask President Chang to make his comments. Congratulations to all the CSCU winter graduates. It is our wish that you find your future bright right here in Connecticut. Congratulations. Now I'd like to turn the meeting over to President Chang for your comments.
Thank you so much, Sharon. Let me repeat the welcome to our new regents, Regent Stewart, and our two student regents, Luis and Alex. We're really thrilled to have you joining the board. I look forward to working with all of the regents. Alex, I remember meeting you in my early visits to Southern, so I'm glad I tricked you to join the board. So remarkably, the fall semester is coming to a close, and I want to wish the best of luck to all of our students taking their finals, and best of luck to our faculty who are grading exams and papers vigorously right now. For us in the system, it's a great time to reflect on what we've accomplished halfway through the academic year, and to look ahead to what lies before us. In fall of 2022, every institution, every campus across CSCU made progress in so many ways. I'm going to give you some of these details. The remarks will be a bit longer than usual, but I think it's important to make sure we shine a positive light on all the great activity across our system. At the system level, we're making progress in developing stronger relationships and developing a greater understanding with our collective bargaining leaders. And I'm really grateful for the time, the hard work that they put in advocating for their constituents. We do so with a great amount of energy and passion. They care deeply about our institutions, about students, and about CSCU. So getting to know them better and understanding their positions so we can work more fluidly together to solve problems. I appreciate you all, and I really appreciate all the folks that you represent. Operationally, the system has created the CSCU Workforce Council, which will coordinate workforce development projects and initiatives across the system and seek funding from external sources that will support innovation. In partnership with the Governor's Office and the Office of Workforce Strategy and other statewide partners, CSCU has helped to lead multiple initiatives, such as the Connecticut Health Horizons, which will bolster higher education offerings in healthcare, the Tech Talent Accelerator, which expands education for fields such as cybersecurity, software development, digital analytics, and the development of lab schools with the Office of Early Childhood. We've worked with Advanced CT to meet the needs of existing and new companies in Connecticut, and I've personally moderated panels with industry leaders in Stanford and at the Connecticut Economic Summit in just last week. I had the pleasure and honor of serving on a panel with other university presidents in Connecticut at the NENJI conference in Boston. So to keep our activity brisk, profile high, we will expand and intensify all of these efforts in 2023. But it is our institutions with our dedicated faculty, staff, and administrators who are the ones who truly lead the way. Charter Oak State College continues to be a leader in online education. And this fall, they created a workforce division and also launched a new program in social. By doing so, Charter Oak demonstrates its keen understanding of workforce And they need to be nimble and accessible and innovative, and they are. Eastern Connecticut State University has made significant improvements to its graduation and retention rates, increasing first to second year retention up to 83% overall and 89% for students of color, which is a real achievement. Eastern's six-year graduation rate is now a record high 61%, showing why Eastern continues to be one of the top-ranked institutions in the Northeast. Eastern is also one of just 3 institutions in Connecticut, along with Connecticut College and Yale, to be awarded gold status for climate change efforts by STARS, the Sustainability Tracking Assessment and Rating System. This fall, Central Connecticut State University opened its XR Lab, which combines virtual reality, mixed reality, and augmented reality in an interdisciplinary physical lab space. The lab is the first of its kind in Connecticut, and is already serving faculty from multiple departments who will integrate the space into their spring 2023 classes. Central also opened its drop-in childcare center for children ages 3 to 12 years old. The center provides experiential learning opportunities to CCSU students in majors like education, psychology, and social work. And the use of the drop-in center is free of charge for Central student parents, which is a real game changer for access and equity in higher education. Southern Connecticut State University opened its new Health and Human Services building, which is home to several majors related to healthcare fields. This includes nursing, where a major collaboration with Yale New Haven Health will enable the university to double its numbers of nursing graduates by 2026. And the building will also engage the New Haven community through public clinics in audiology, speech therapy, human performance, and adaptive sport. Southern also established 2 major partnerships with the arts community. Both the New Haven Symphony Orchestra and the Long Wharf Theater are taking up residency at the university, bringing not only concerts and plays to campus, but a host of internship and learning opportunities. These include a new arts administration and cultural advocacy minor, which provides students in the arts and humanities an on-ramp into a field that generates more than $9.3 billion in Connecticut alone. The 12 campuses of CT State Community College have been extremely busy and productive, from supporting our students with food pantries, mental health resources, and academic advising, to top-notch teaching and faculty achievements and awards, to fundraising, grants, and record levels of scholarships being awarded, to new industry and community partnerships. Our community college campuses continue to have a profound impact on people and regions. It is no wonder that Connecticut had 4 community colleges ranked in the top 20 nationally on Wallenhub's Best Community Colleges list, while it also ranked our community college system as the best in the country. This fall, CT State also submitted its first progress report to NetSheet, our accrediting body, which was approved and accepted. CT State's unified course catalog, its single application, has launched, while its governance structure was recently established. It is clear that CT State is well on its way to full accreditation in July of 2023. Last, but certainly not least, Western Connecticut State University has made great progress in the last 6 months. First, Western's computer science program received accreditation from APA, the Accreditation Board for Engineering and Technology, which is an enormous accomplishment. Further, Western has revitalized its relationships with the Danbury community and Fairfield County region. Western has also engaged its faculty and other stakeholders through shared governance and Article 5.20 with the CSU AAP contract to advance difficult but honest conversations about the sustainability and viability of certain academic programs. Many of you know by now that a great deal of work has been going on in Western since fall of 2021 to examine the institution's overall positioning and health. The final report on Western from the National Center for Higher Education Management Systems, otherwise known as NCHEMS, was publicly released yesterday. I will not go over the report in great detail, but I will tell you that the analysis is a sobering reminder of the challenges facing Western Connecticut State University and frankly, our entire system. It is an unvarnished look at the current state of finances, spending, staffing, curriculum, and a myriad of changing enrollment and demographic trends. Its recommendations are objective and agnostic and meant to help Western evolve. My office is in full support of Western's efforts, and I am grateful for the many faculty and staff who have stepped up to work with the administration. Like this, you will create clear-eyed solutions that will set Western back on track for sustainable physical health and success. Under the leadership of our presidents, every one of our institutions is currently going through a process to evaluate operations and programs, looking to partner with the faculty and staff to chart a path forward. To be clear, in the worst case scenario, our system would face a deficit of approximately $100 million in fiscal year 24 and $120 million in fiscal year 25. Situation is real, and it is a harbinger for all parts of the system. I know this budget and planning work has already begun on all of our campuses, and I have great faith that we will come together to do what is best for our institutions for the long term. That said, we are not going to cut our way out of financial crisis. To become the 21st century system that Connecticut wants and needs us to be, our system needs more funding. CSCU and its institutions, primary engine, social mobility and economic impact for the state. We are the largest, most ubiquitous force for higher education in Connecticut. Our students come from Connecticut, are educated in Connecticut, and they stay and live and work in Connecticut. And yet, funding for our system has lagged for years. So even as we work to responsibly evolve and change to control what we can control, we need more investment from the state. As we enter legislative session next month, we will present a vision for our system that will make investing in CSCU an obvious choice. By investing in CSCU, you don't just move one region or one city. You positively impact all of Connecticut. We will synergize CSCU's connections to our K-12 system with new and innovative enrollment programs, and we will pipeline our talent directly into Connecticut's most important industries. We will show how investing in CSCU is an investment in equity that will help to close achievement gaps. We will show that Connecticut and CSCU can be national leaders in all of this work. In the coming months, we will share more detailed plans. But for now, let me say that our system will be ambitious, bold, and even audacious in this vision. Because we cannot become a great system if we are satisfied with just being good. We are second class to no one, but we must improve that. If we are unified in this message, faculty, staff, students, and administrators, we will build capacity and support and achieve great things. Because that's what our students and our system and our state deserve. Thank you for your time, Chair Ryan. If I may, I would like to invite Dr. Duncan Harris, CEO of Capital Community College, to begin his presentation.
Please, thanks.
Dr. Harris, are you
Good morning.
sir?
I am.
Good
Good morning.
sir.
I am, and I have I'm joined by Joy Lee, a student from Capital Community College. And we have a short presentation that we'd like to share with you all this morning. So let me get that set up. See, can you see that on the screen yet? Is the presentation showing?
Yes, it is, Dr. Harrison.
Okay, great. Thank you. And so Duncan Harris, I'm the CEO of Capital Community College. And so this is actually my 5th year in the role. And I am prior to this, I worked at Manchester Community College for 22 years. And so definitely excited about being in this position and in the role. and have a lot to share about the good work that's going on at Capital Community College right now. And so the next slide. When you look at Capital, our current student profile, this is Michelle. This past fall, our head count was at 2402 in terms of the number of students. Our FTE is 1348. Most of our students are female. You can see 72% female, overwhelmingly part-time, 74.8%. We are 37% Black, 33% Hispanic, 20% white, 5% Asian, and 3% unknown, 3% two or more races. We're one of the most diverse community colleges in New England. Many of our students, like most of our community colleges, are first generation and, of course, receive financial aid. I'm a quote guy, and so on here we have a quote about partnerships. And this is from Mother Teresa, who said, "I can do all things you cannot. You can do things I cannot. Together we can do great things." And so partnerships are a cardinal part of Capital's work in our city. And these are a few of the examples over the last couple years, stellar partnerships. Two that I'd like to highlight is that we launched a program with Eversource a couple years ago, where we now train line workers for them. And so we are actually in our fourth cohort. And hopefully there are a number of line workers that will be serving us during the oncoming storm. But this is a program that's made a difference in our state and for our students. We'll actually be launching a similar program with Housatonic. The other highlight that I'd like to mention regarding partnerships is with Whitcraft Aerospace. Capital Community College was one of the last schools to onboard a manufacturing program. We actually had a manufacturing program prior to moving to downtown in 2002. This past year, during the pandemic, we successfully launched a manufacturing program. We're on our fourth cohort now, in part due to this strong partnership with Whitcraft, where they actually hire our students. They've provided us with instructors, and we actually teach the last 2 weeks of that course at their South Windsor site. So once again, a model partnership with the college. And you can see other partnerships with the city of Hartford, of course. We have our state's largest nursing program, so we have presence in all of the Hartford area hospitals, and a model relationship with Trinity College in terms of our Trinity College Action Lab. This student is Kion Davis, and wanted to acknowledge President Chang, and who teed up a partnership with us at Accenture this past fall. Around September, we launched into a partnership with Accenture to create a hub for apprentices in Hartford. They have similar programs in Chicago and Houston, and we're interested in doing the same in Hartford. They reached out to the system and college in September. Kion will be a part of the first class of Accenture apprentices in Hartford. He signed a contract recently, and he'll be working on a year-long apprenticeship. He'll be learning Oracle and Workday and other systems. They're actually working on a project for our state comptroller's office through Accenture. He'll be paid. This is a paid apprentice program. Our students need to work. His salary for the year will be $53,000. He signed a $3,000 signing bonus, and there are 12 students in that initial cohort. The intention is to roll out additional cohorts about every 2 months. And so once again, model partnership. This is a game changer, life-changing opportunity for Kion. He actually came to Capital pursuing our Morehouse program, which I'll talk about briefly in a minute. But he, based on this opportunity that came his way, he decided, and rightfully so, to pursue this life-changing opportunity as an apprentice with Accenture. They have a 90% conversion rate based on those that start as apprentices and become full-time employees with Accenture. Uh, the city is our campus. Depending on the economic index that you're looking at, some might cite Hartford as the third or fifth worst city in the nation, median household income averaging hovering around 28,000 with a 28% poverty rate. We're uniquely aware of our role in disrupting cycles of poverty that impact our students at the college. And so we leverage the power of the city in terms of our curriculum and programs and once again, the partnerships. This program has been in existence since 2011. Shout out to Dr. Jeff Partridge, has been in the middle of this work, place-based learning. We have partnerships with Hartford Stage, the Mark Twain House, the Old State House, Wadsworth Atheneum, with classes actually being offered in those spaces, students attending cultural events, plays, and things like that. So the city is indeed our campus, and we make full use of it. To the right of this slide, you see something referring to the James Pennington Lecture. Reverend James Pennington was probably the equivalent of Martin Luther King of his day in the early 1800s, and was a civil rights leader in Hartford, and was one of the first pastors of the Talcott Street Church. Capital Community College sits at the same site as the Talcott Street Church, which was also the first Black school in Connecticut. And so we've brought his history to light. And we have, this is the second year of our Reverend James Pennington lecture series. Last year we had Dr. Sarah Lewis from Harvard. This year we have Dr. Jelani Cobb, who's the Dean of the School of Communications at Columbia, former UConn professor. And so I'd like to invite everybody to that. That was a partnership between the college, the Wadsworth Faith Community Church, and also the Amistad Center. And so that's a model program that we're offering and leveraging the power of our city. We are a proud Hispanic serving institution. Antonio Tejerino, who is the president of the Hispanic Heritage Foundation, said that you are not lucky to be here. The world needs your perspective. They are lucky to have you. And so we, a couple years ago, received a Title V grant, and the title of that is Cultivating All-Inclusive Student Achievement. It works off of the Guided Pathways principles. So that's a $3 million grant, and we're in year 2 of that. So that is making a difference here. We are in the midst of launching a Herencia Latina, which is the Latino Heritage Project, similar to our Black Heritage Project that's kicking off in January. We have focus groups that speak to the needs of our Hispanic faculty and staff, that incorporate that data into ensuring that there's a culture of belonging and on campus. And then, of course, faculty, staff, and administrative representation. Feel that it's important that our staff reflects the students. We have Hispanic administrators and faculty and staff on our campus. And so Hispanic serving institutions, it's defined as being above 25% of your student population being of Hispanic descent. And it's certainly more than just having that number of students, in my opinion, as it relates to claiming to be a Hispanic serving institution. So we're excited about Connecticut State and the role that we'll play in helping inform our identity as a Hispanic serving institution as CT State has stood up. I wouldn't be talking to you today if I didn't have strong mentors in my life, like Jonathan Dobby or Alfred Carter or Jane Freed and others. And so we have a mentoring program here. Oprah Winfrey said that a mentor is someone who allows you to see the hope inside of yourself. And so we have 2 mentoring programs, brother to brother and sister to sister. There's actually themed IDS courses where we create and support cohorts that self-select for that program. You'll hear from one of the members of Sister to Sister in a minute. And this past spring, in April, we signed an articulation agreement with Morehouse College in Atlanta. We were the first community college in the nation to sign such an agreement with them from outside of Georgia. They've begun to adopt this as with other institutions. And through this program, we currently have 10 young men in that cohort. Our intention is that a year and a half from now, they will be starting as juniors at Morehouse, which is the school of Martin Luther King and Raphael Warnock and a host of others. And so we believe that it's important to address equity and opportunity gaps for the students that we serve. And so certainly our ability to provide transfer opportunities for Black males to one of the world's most elite schools for Black male scholarship is something that we take great pride in. And Morehouse has already indicated that articulation agreement will be extended to Connecticut State once Connecticut State is in place, fully in place in July. Equity everywhere is worth fighting for, and is the hallmark. We received a grant, a 3-year grant from the Hartford Foundation for Public Giving to launch an equity center. Equity occurs not only in the center, but in each inch of this facility in this campus. However, at the Equity Center, we have a full-time director. That is Carl Guerrieri, who provides leadership for some of our equity-based initiatives. We actually house community partners. The YWCA has an office in there where they provide support to women enrolled in particular career programs at the college. We have a partnership with Sun Scholars, which work with foster care youth that are in the DCF system. We are in the midst of piloting software called Single Stop. Students will enter information and Single Stop software will connect them with entitlement resources that they're eligible for, which they may not have been aware of. And so you build the system, we input resources, community-based organizations, and other things into the system, and then it provides and connects students with those supports. And so we're leveraging the power of that system. We have a navigator who works in the system, and that was funded through a grant as well, and a wellness licensed counselor in the Equity Center as well. The holistic supports, and I wanted to highlight one program tied to housing. This is, once again, I mentioned my 26th year in working in our community colleges. And when I started, I'd suggest that we took great pride in simply letting students in or admitting students. And over the last decade, we've begun to certainly pivot to how are they doing? Are they completing? And what else is required for them to be successful? Certainly some of the non-cognitive factors that get in the way of them moving on and completing their degrees. And so certainly that's food security, micro grants. And I wanted to highlight a housing program that we launched this last year. It's a partnership, an interagency partnership with the Department of Housing and a community-based organization, Community Health Resources, in which we have funding from DOH to provide rapid short-term housing stability for students that are in housing insecure situations. We had a story that I will share that highlights the importance of the program. Nursing student last December, 3.8 GPA, a situation where she was about to lose her housing. Through the program, we were able to provide her with 9 months of housing. She was able to graduate in May and now works at one of our area hospitals and no longer requires the support. And so this is a pilot program that we piloted this past year. The intention is, and we've begun working on standing this up at other community colleges in the state through additional support from the Department of Housing. And so very excited about that. What I wanted to do is to turn it over to an expert about capital. I know a little bit about capital, but certainly this is an expert. Her name is Joy Lee. She is a member of Phi Theta Kappa, Alpha Beta Gamma. There's a picture of me and Joy. Last spring, I did an interview of her before she left for her fellowship at Johns Hopkins through the college. And so I wanted to turn it over now to Joy.
I'm Joy. I'm a history major. After high school, I wasn't positive what I wanted to do, but I heard great things about it. I decided to enroll. And my experience in the past 2 years, the staff and faculty have been very helpful, and all of the professors. They've helped me get opportunities to volunteer. Like Dr. Harris mentioned, I was able to with Johns Hopkins over the summer, and I'll be back there in the spring to present research again. Even professors that I never had as like my own professors would go out of their way to want to help me. And it was really encouraging. And outside of academics and research, I have also been really active in clubs, which I think was really important or has been really important for my college experience. And I've learned so much from other students as well, which I think has been a really big, important part of my experience here so far. Yeah, and our partnerships with institutions like Trinity have been really helpful in preparing me for what's next, especially when it comes to research. I presented last night with Trinity, and it was a really great.
What's next?
I plan on transferring to a four-year. I'm working on my applications right now to transfer. I'm not positive where I'll go, but I'm excited for the next step.
Awesome.
Thank you.
And so that's the product of our work here. I'm actually working on Joy's recommendation letter to become a Jack Kent Cooke Scholar, which is one of an elite scholarship. And Joy certainly has the medal, I think, to be a competitive candidate for Jack Kent Cooke. So to conclude, there's a quote once again by Gwendolyn Brooks. We are each other's harvest. We are each other's business. We are each other's magnitude and bond. And so I feel very strongly about that. We're poised to move into the next phase of Connecticut State and exciting about what the future holds for all of our campuses. Thank you very much.
Thank you so much, Dr. Harris. And I just want to say, Joy, there are our university presence here within our system who I think would want to have a chat with you about your next step. So if you would like to reach out to them, I'm sure they're going to be very delighted to have a conversation. Dr. Harris, thank you for leading an outstanding campus and operation that is emblematic of the mission, the vision, the values of what we're going to do here at CSCU. And Joy, you are exemplary and a real model. So being mindful of time, I'm going to recommend that if members of the board, regions of the board have questions, that we could field them and route them to Dr. Harris for further deliberation. So if that's okay, I'll pass the thing back to you, Chair Ryan.
Thank you, President Chang and Dr. Harris. We never let me said that a moment goes by where you don't emphasize the value of our wonderful institution. So thank you. We appreciate that. I'm now going to ask Dr. Pritchard and BM Lee to manage the public comment portion of our meeting.
Thank you, Chair Ryan. In addition to the 9 presenters that we have today, we've received 2 letters and communications which have been forwarded to the regents in advance of this meeting. And in accordance with the Freedom of Information Act guidelines as amended during the pandemic, those communications were posted on the CFC website immediately prior to the meeting's start time. And with that precursor, I'd like to welcome our first student presenter, first faculty presenter, Dr. Cynthia Stretch, who's with the English department at Southern, who's asked to speak about our strategic vision. Professor Stretch, you have your 3 minutes.
Thank you. Good morning, President Ryan and members of the board. My name is Cindy Stretch from the English department here at Southern. Thank you for the opportunity to address you today, and I'm glad to be able to do so in person. I'm concerned that you're about to vote to approve a strategic vision full of language about social justice and access and professional and personal fulfillment, while those of us at the state universities are living in an alternative reality where we are being told by presidents, provosts, and an ever-increasing number of vice presidents that we're actually going to need to do less with less, to play Greece to the system office's World Bank in order to, quote, give the legislature the data points it needs to give us funding. For those of us working with the students who are benefiting from the access mission to the institution, this feels like a kind of cruel austerity theater where faculty and students enter every scene wearing the Starfleet red uniforms of the doomed. I am a full professor in the English department. I've been teaching first-year university students for 32 years, 24 of them here at Southern. And I'm an OG instructor in the first-year experience program. Since 2007, I've been alternating sections of the first-year inquiry seminar with sections of the first-year composition. This year, I've taught 2 sections of the inquiry seminar with 22 students each. Because we serve as those inquiry students, faculty advisors for their first semester, those of us who teach on NQ are especially attuned to the discourse around workforce development that permeates the strategic vision and the public-facing comments by the system office. We understand the difficulties, financial and academic, that our students are facing, and we are sensitive to the desire for financial stability and personal fulfillment. I want to put aside the militaristic connotations of workforce for the moment and focus instead on what it might need to actually develop our students. That is the work that brings me joy and that keeps me up at night. One of the assumptions underlying the data point strategy outlined by President Bertolino is that on top of cuts to the reassigned time that compensates full-time faculty for running the innovative programs and doing the research necessary to be an actual university, we will need to increase our faculty to student ratio by close to 75%, meaning that each student will get significantly less of our time and attention. Here's a data point. Of my 44 IMQ students this semester, nearly half withdrew from their introductory and intermediate algebra class, the class before the class that fulfills their quantitative reasoning requirement, the class before the class before the class that requires them for degrees in any STEM and business programs. Nearly all of them struggle with the college level reading and writing in my section of IMQ. Most of these students are bright and capable, but they need care and attention from faculty if their abilities as thinkers and problem solvers are to be developed. How can we go to the legislature like a cat, lay the half-dead mouse of our university system at the feet of the Appropriations Committee and ask for funds to what? Resuscitate the mouse? Let's face it, at that point, the mouse ain't coming back. In order to actually make the CSUs a quote destination for higher education, a goal which I am fully in support, in order to convince the governor and the legislature that we can realize that goal, you need every single one of us, faculty and staff, to metaphorically and literally put a CSU or WCSU or ECSU or CCSU sticker on our cars to proudly proclaim that we were here, not at some fancy institution down the road or some flagship in the police. But so far, the approach on the ground with the actual humans who are doing the transformative work upon which your vision depends has been management by stress. Good cop, bad copping between the system office and the campus presidents, rollouts of plans that were told aren't really the plans, and most recently, talk of throwing bombs into the shared governance process and problem solving. If that approach continues, only few of us will put those stickers on our cars.
Thank you. Our next presenter is Dr. Solberg, Neil Solberg from the Chemistry Department here at Southern, also speaking about strategic vision. You have 3 minutes.
Hi, good morning. Oops, just a second, I forgot my glasses. Thanks for your patience. Thank you for giving me this opportunity to speak to the board today and everyone assembled here. I don't know if it comes to these meetings. My name is Camille Solberg. As one of the 570 or so adjunct faculty at Southern Connecticut State University, I am here today to speak on behalf of the Equity for All Part-Time Faculty Caucus. We represent the 58% of faculty that are adjunct across the 4 CSU systems. The topic of the times in 2009, when I first started teaching at Southern, was expansion. More and more students showed up at our doors each semester, and many more course sections were added. But now the topic of our time seems to be austerity. Austerity has hit the CSU system. Departments across the university are being asked to cut their adjunct budgets. This is not only devastating to those of us who have given our hearts in service to Southern and the CSU system for many years, it is also, at best, a short-term solution to the ongoing problem of too little state support for public universities. I am here today because I believe that the BOR should stop encouraging our universities to react to the current budget crisis by instituting extreme austerity measures. Introductory courses are the bread and butter of higher education in Connecticut. Because adjunct faculty teach most introductory courses, they therefore play a crucial role in shaping and supporting vulnerable student populations, such as incoming freshmen. Many of us have advanced degrees, are dedicated to the tasks embodied in our work, and care about whether our students take away with them a good experience in learning for the money they pay in tuition. We do this, however, without adequate health benefits, sick leave, job security, or equal pay. Please, as you plan for the future, for the next decade, we ask, will you stand up for the adjuncts in the state system during this difficult time in higher education everywhere? Will you protect our jobs and become agents of equity, seeking out ways to offer more just pay and benefits for part-time faculty? The Equity for All Caucus hopes that you will. Thank you.
Thank you. Our next presenter is a student from Asnuntuck, Timothy Dickinson. Timothy, can you check your audio and your video for us, please? Our next presenter is a student from Asnuntuck, Timothy Dickinson.
Are you asking me?
Yes, we can. If you have YouTube on, can you turn that off too, please? Thank you. You may begin.
I'm in now.
Speaker.
Uh,
There's. Timothy, can you check your audio, please? You're muted. Doesn't show as muted.
Tell them sign back in and we'll get back to them.
Timothy, can you log out of the meeting and jump back in the WebEx? We cannot hear you. We'll come back to you. Okay, we'll move along then. Our next presenter is Louise Williams, who is the CSU AAUP Vice President.
Hello? Hello? You guys hear me now? Hello?
For a second.
Can you guys hear me?
Louise, can you hold for a moment, please? And we'll have Timothy do his 3-minute presentation. Thank you. Timothy, go ahead.
Okay, so I'm here to talk about, for me and my peers about the fact and the issues that are happening in the advanced manufacturing department at Asnuntuck Community College. So my first talking point is the negligence of the schools and the lack of care for me and my peers and our lives and our safety. Like, we've been out of the lab for 2 months now. I think 2 months, about 2 months. And there's been very little communication. It has been constant I don't knows, no answers to anything, and other shit like that, other stuff like that. I apologize. There was also a lack of communication on our past, most recent evacuation. At 2:06, they sent an email saying it was a drill, and I believe that they did not want to fear anybody. They said it was a drill and there was free lunch for the students that were allowed back in the building. But my peers and I had to go in the other building. And then at 9:17 at night, they sent another email stating that there was a gas leak and there was an issue. But what student do you know is looking at their email at 9:30 at night? Not a single student that I know. would be looking at their student email at 9:30 at night. And following that, they have been on the roof, the same company, for a while, and they've been messing up and causing more issues. In the most recent evacuation, it was caused by a lack of oversight. The not manufacturing maintenance department, the main guy for the maintenance department, was not there to watch them do their stuff, which is the company's air temp, and they have been messing up. They also have not been following codes correctly, and there has just been no anything for the students. They gave us a $100 gift card just today, right before the meeting. They gave us a $100 gift card that we can't even spend on outside things. We have to spend it at the school to start, which is just going straight back to the school. They already have all the products, so it's just going right back to the school. So we can't, and there are students here that need this experience. Welding is something you cannot do over books. You can't learn how to weld over books. It's a physical thing that you have to learn. You have to get it through memory and just passes and passes and passes. But my issue is, where is our compensation for this? Where is our compensation? We do not have the time nor the experience to go out into the workforce. This is our career. This is our lives. We're here for 1 year, a singular year, and we're just being left out there. They're not caring for us. They're not assisting us with stuff, and they're just not, helping us further our lives, which I believe colleges and schools should be helping us better our lives and further our careers. But they are not currently helping us with that. Thank you, and I would like to yield my time to the board.
Thank you, Timothy. To our next
Am I good to leave?
Hi. Am I ready to go? There's a lot of feedback, so I can't really hear very well. So good morning. I'm Louise Williams, Professor of History at the Central Connecticut State University. I will be taking over as president of CSU AUP on January 1st when Patty O'Neill steps down. I hope we can all thank Patty for her dedicated service to our universities. As we all know, CSU AUP has had a contentious relationship with CSU presidents and the board in the past. President Cheng told me he would like that to change going forward. AUP would welcome that as well. In the spirit of that positive change, I would like you to understand a bit about AUP and also make sure you know about a few troubling issues at our universities. First, AUP is a democratic and member-driven union. We are not afraid of change, of new ideas, of dreaming big, and our big dream is that CSCU becomes a great system, not just a quality system. CSU AUP plans to work hard in the legislature and in the community to create such a system. We plan to do that together with other unions and community organizations and with all of you. We hope we can agree on a couple things in advance. First, the challenges to our system include not only decades of state disinvestment, but also management by individuals who have not always understood what is unique and special about higher education and what makes it different from a business or corporation. We also hope we can agree on the transformative work faculty members do and the need to promote, support, and enhance that work. There's no CSCU system without faculty labor. It's the research, teaching, and community service that our faculty engage in, which opens doors and provides opportunities, which transforms students and improves their lives. And all of this contributes to the broader social and economic good of the state. Because of this, if we're going to turn the page, AUP needs to be assured that faculty governance and the faculty voice and decision-making is not just an afterthought. This brings up the second point of information I want to convey to you today. I hate to say it, but there's still a great deal of distrust among faculty, which is quite widespread. I've told many faculty members that President Chang is committed to a new relationship, but they don't believe me. They are still very suspicious of his intentions and of the entire board. They were particularly alarmed at the response of most campus presidents to the October 3rd memo directing them to balance their budgets. Especially at Western, Southern, and Eastern, and to some degree at Central, presidents have been using threats and stress against faculty to force them to make change without appearing to want their advice or consent, or treating them as rational and mature professionals. At Western, for example, as you heard from Professor Stretch, interim President Barron announced program closures before talking to the faculty involved. And he did this, as he admitted yesterday, in a way intended to create discomfort, to quote, throw a bomb in the room. He also said that no faculty are safe, and if they want safety, Western is not the place to be. Other presidents have announced that by fiat, our jobs and the work we do will be changed fundamentally. Large numbers of faculty will be fired, programs will be closed, and the reassigned time that faculty use to create a complex learning environment will disappear. These threats are unnecessary. Faculty have always been committed to helping the universities do well. I worry that this kind of talk and any action following up on it will make it difficult for us to work together this legislative session to attain the means to make our system great. I hope that you can do something to solve this problem so that we can move forward to create a really world-class system of higher education for the students of Connecticut. Thank you, and we look forward to working with you in the future, and have a happy holiday season.
Thank you. Our next presenter is Karina Bandauer, Chair of the Department of Social Sciences at Western.
Thank you. Let me just pull my screen up really quickly.
Your 3 minutes may begin.
Okay, I'm just getting this started. Here we go. All right, so I'm Karina Bandauer. I'm the chair of the Department of Social Sciences at Western Connecticut State University. And following what Louise just said, I'm here to discuss our programs that are in line for discontinuation, but I'm not here to be a Debbie Downer today. I'm here to communicate to you the vibrancy and the wonderful things going on in our department. These are our disciplines: anthropology, economics, political science, sociology, and geography. We are a department of 9 faculty members that are full-time and about 13 or so part-time faculty members. We have majors: anthropology, sociology, social sciences, and economics. Those are the 3 that are currently under threat. I decided the quickest way to communicate to you is to make a list. I have included this in my written testimony that I submitted. The main messages I want to get across are that we make a lot of money for the university. Our classes are full. We carry full course loads. We have an average of a 23-to-1 faculty-student ratio when the president's website boasts 12-to-1. So we are more than double, or about double, I should say. The faculty are active. We publish. We put on tons of events on campus. Students feel at home in our department and fill up our classes. In particular, our retention rates are very high, and our majors over the last 5 years have been stable. In particular, I do like to show off, now that I've just realized it, that our 9 faculty members are very diverse. We were sitting around the table the other day and discovered that we speak 11 languages between the 9 of us, myself included. I'm going to skip past a few of these slides because they're in the written testimony and I'm short on time. I do want to highlight that the low completer definition is a little bit difficult for us. If it needs to be expanded, and I need for you to emphasize with the universities, not just Western, but all of them, but the idea of a low completer needs to follow the 2018 definition that allows for broad definitions. In the last 2 months since we've been under fire, we have put together a ton of new exciting things that we would like to implement into those majors, including a brand new Connecticut Futures Lab that onboards students with professionalization, with internships, and all kinds of opportunities to bridge between the local community, businesses, etc., and Western Connecticut State University. We feel there's a lot at risk. We change student lives. These pictures that I'm showing you today are our actual students, and those smiles are real. We create a lot of love on our campus, and we work really hard to do it. Finally, I just want to say that we invite the Board of Regents to collaborate with us. I am a 21-year member of the CSU AAUP. We want to work with you to leverage the state to help us all out. We have a public responsibility to educate the students of this state. We are in it with you. Please, we would like to work with you. We don't want to be in a contentious relationship, as Louise just said. Thank you.
Thank you. Our next presenter is Elizabeth Cowles, biology professor and chair at Eastern. Oh, sorry. Okay.
Thank you.
Try yours and see it. Biology professor and chair at Eastern. She is muted. She doesn't. Professor Cowles, you may begin.
Thank you very much. Good morning, and my name is Elizabeth Coles. I'm sorry. Can you hear me all right?
Yes, we can.
Okay, wonderful. My name is Elizabeth Coles. I'm a biology professor and chair of my department at Eastern. This is my 26th year. I am the proud part of a 5-year, $650,000 National Science Foundation grant to award scholarships and provide mentoring to grant-eligible biology and mathematics students. Eastern, as you know, is Connecticut's only public liberal arts university, and our institution is a member of COPLEC, which is the Council of Public Liberal Arts Colleges. As a COPLEC member, Eastern and BOR are committed to providing active and engaged student learning. Presidents Carter and Nunez are to be commended for their leadership in our mission to provide our students with an outstanding education. Our curriculum provides students with the skills required in the workplace and/or in professional or graduate schools. My colleagues and I are aware of the fiscal challenges at the university and many universities around the nation. We are deeply appreciative of the work President Nunez has done to carefully build Eastern's reserves during her time at Eastern. Eastern staff, faculty, and administration have been careful stewards of our finances, and we have all sacrificed to meet our budgetary goals. There is much that is special about Eastern. Central to our success are faculty and staff who are deeply dedicated to teaching, mentorship, student services, and service to the university and broader community. In supporting our faculty and staff, Eastern is able to provide our students with a first-rate education despite our current situation. In this time of fiscal and enrollment challenges, now more than ever, Eastern must provide students with an excellent education and the skills they need to succeed once they graduate. Faculty and staff are consistently show their dedication to students by working longer hours with fewer resources because we believe in supporting our students and doing our jobs well. However, because of these mitigating factors, faculty morale has decreased significantly. We are trying to do our very best under these circumstances, but it is difficult when we are undervalued and overworked. Students need faculty support now more than ever. I fear that essential disciplines are being damaged by 1,000 cuts, thus undermining Eastern's mission, which is to engage students from diverse backgrounds in a transformative liberal arts learning experience that provides knowledge and skills to lead enriching, purposeful lives. I and my colleagues urge the BOR to support our students in reaching our goals. Thank you.
Thank you. So our next presenter is Manoj Mishra, Associate Professor of Sociology at Western.
Okay. Hello, can you hear me? I'm Dr. Manoj Mishra, an associate professor of sociology at Western Connecticut State University. I'm here to speak against the cancellation of social sciences majors at WCSU. The just released NCHEMS report states, quote, at WCSU, stakeholders expressed concern that students from underrepresented racial ethnic backgrounds struggle to find role models or mentors among the faculty and staff at the institution who can understand and appreciate the challenges they face, and that this can be a barrier to student success for those populations, unquote. The report recommended hiring faculty of color to attract students from a rapidly diversifying population in the greater Danbury area. Social sciences is one of the most diverse departments at WCSU in terms of both the makeup of the students and faculty. Of the 9 full-time faculty in our department, 5 belong to underrepresented minority communities. We have faculty born in Nigeria, China, Indonesia, Bangladesh, and a gay professor. Collectively, faculty in this department speak 11 different languages. We have expertise to teach courses on Latin America, Africa, Middle East Asia, and South Asia. Social Sciences Department is a model when it comes to recruiting, retaining, and promoting minority faculty. It's no coincidence that 44% of our majors are from minority communities. When these students come to our department, they feel at home. They see themselves. We are exactly what the Anchem report wants our university to look like. This diversity is something the university should celebrate and promote, and not sabotage. I wonder why you are trying to close our majors. You haven't given us any satisfactory answer. It's not about saving money. We generate about $2 million in net profit for the university. Will canceling our majors solve the financial crisis? Absolutely not. This cancellation policy is discriminatory in nature. It disproportionately impacts students and faculty of color. This is a state-funded attack on diversity, equity, and inclusion in the guise of non-existent savings. We recognize the crisis. We are ready to make meaningful changes to our program, but we won't accept diluting our decision-making power by dispersing us into disparate departments. We will not allow silencing our voices through such gerrymandering. We'll do everything in our power to make sure everyone knows what this is really about. I was born in Bangladesh in poverty. I had to fight every step of the way to come here and become who I am. I'm not going to let anyone tell me that I'm disposable, that my expertise is disposable, that I should just teach entry courses. Our expertise matters. Our students matter. They may be poor students of color, but their choices shouldn't be taken away. Regents, this is your opportunity to put your words into action and embrace our diversity. You can be on the right side of history or face reputational damage and Title VI disparate impact lawsuits. The choice is yours. Thank you.
Thank you. Our next presenter is Al Vandermark, Professor of History and Political Science at Ms. Nantucket.
Thank you very much. Members of the board and President Chang, my name is Al Vandermark, and I am a professor of history at ACC. However, I am also a formerly licensed plumbing contractor. That matters because it means I understand the systems that are failing at ACC. I am here to echo concerns raised by our welding student, Timothy Dickinson. Twice in the last 3 years, a gas leak dumped natural gas into a welding lab. Gas and a spark. Those are the conditions for catastrophic disaster and loss of human life. If or when we suffer an explosion or fire, it will be too little too late for you to act. This week, these failures were formally recognized when the Faculty Council and College Council each voted no confidence in the Associate Dean of Campus Operations. In addition, more than 100 individuals rallied and signed a petition registering their lack of faith in his ability to remain. These leaks are the result of shoddy work and poor managerial oversight. If we had experienced, qualified, and competent management, these practices would not be tolerated. Not only are they tolerated, they are perpetuated. Under Jim Lambella's tenure as president at ACC, we were told a facilities manager was needed who would focus on these problems. In 2020, we hired an associate dean of campus operations. COVID then presented an unprecedented opportunity to learn deeply the problems at ACC with minimal occupancy and few disruptions to that work. And it provided the opportunity to triage safety concerns, but that did not happen. Campus operations and management at ACC focused on things like security badges, noises, and adding food services. All these were needed, but they demonstrate the failure to prioritize and address the most pressing concerns. CSCU knows the problems at ACC because Keith Epstein has been attending meetings there for more than 5 years. CT State is the new kid on the block, but Jim Lambella is now a vice president at CT State and former president of ACC. Therefore, we cannot absolve the new organization. The CEO has been at ACC since 2010. She is steeped in the long and troubled history of facilities management. Diffused responsibility is a strategy employed by corporations. I'm here to share with you that every level of management is complicit, but the Dean of Campus Operations is directly responsible for managing the facility, and he must be removed. Management bears the responsibility of oversight, the responsibility to manage, and the responsibility for the health, safety, and well-being of the students, employees, and community members who use our buildings. Every day, we stand on the sidewalk, gaze up at the glass tower, a project that was prioritized over the problems at ACC that would have addressed our concerns. We take a deep breath and we go into the building. And every day, we hope today is not our last. Thank you for your time, and I am here to answer any questions you might have.
Seth, you ready? Can you check?
I'm sorry, I missed it. Is it my time to speak?
Yes, you may begin. Thank you.
Oh, thank you. Board of Regents members, I provided a written statement this month. If you care, read the statement. The statement amplifies the incompetence of Adnantuck managers and their inability to maintain a safe learning and working environment. Timothy spoke today, as did 4C's Vice President Al Vandermark. So I won't go into more. But we are pleased that President Maduko came to Adnantuck after the rally. President Maduko agrees with us that one gas leak is one too many. President Maduko agrees that it is intolerable for our students to be outside because it's not safe inside. However, we need President Maduko to know that his words are not enough. Adnantuck faculty, staff, and students are demanding the Dean of Facilities, Alfredo DeMoro, is fired. We are also demanding that students in the welding program who have been locked out of labs have their fees refunded. The second matter we highlight this month is this board's unfortunate decision to raise tuition for our state university students and your plan to raise community college student tuition in February. Simply put, our students, faculty, staff, and community are no longer just sitting back waiting for you to make these bad decisions anymore. We have a petition underway, and we called a no tuition hike rally Saturday, January 28th at the board. We call on everyone listening to come, show up, and stand with our students. This winter, we are fighting for and with our students. This spring, when we come back from break, we will fight for our majority part-time workforce who are being grossly exploited by our system. In the spring, we will demand an end to the majority part-time workforce in Connecticut State. We will be with you at the legislature fighting for full funding for our system, but we'll also be fighting to end the racialized austerity right here in CSCU. But lastly and quickly, let me respond to the disgusting email sent by CSCU payroll to community college faculty yesterday. I already emailed VP of HR Barnes, President Chang, and Chair Ryan this morning, but now let me talk to the rest of this board. CSCU payroll emailed community college faculty yesterday threatening to withhold worker pay over the winter intersession. Repeat, CSCU payroll emailed community college faculty yesterday threatening to withhold worker pay. This is the same incompetent CSCU payroll that completely failed to pay part-time workers their negotiated raises in a timely manner. We thought when VP of HR Cripp and Regent Jimenez went into the CSCU dustbin, this board was done attacking workers. We thought President Chang and VP Barnes agreed with a softer, more collaborative approach. But no, here you are again, back to threatening workers. This board does not seem to have gotten the memo. We told you before, and we will tell you again. Community college faculty and staff will no longer be the whipping boy of the CSCU system. If a retraction and an apology is not sent by 4 p.m. today, we are going directly to the press. Keep refusing to pay us and keep threatening us. Mess around and find out.
And assess the problem, determine solutions, mobilize personnel, secure funding to support the work, and in partnership with our employees and students, ensure our communications are clear, accurate, timely, and empathetic to the needs of our community. As I mentioned earlier, I was on campus earlier this week to attend the all-campus meeting and met with the union and sharing our representatives, faculty, and staff. I acknowledge the pain and frustration and demands for stability, and I thank them for not missing words. I want to make it clear I fully support the leadership and efforts of Asmentuk CEO, Dr. Michelle Coach. And in partnership with Dr. Coach, CT State Central Office, CSDU, System Office, specifically contesting, and the rest of our staff are really committed to this work. Effective immediately, CT State has approved to hire HVAC staff to provide staffing expertise and capacity. In the meantime, we've secured a vendor Beacon to provide service to SMT's HVAC systems, and the vendor will provide a contractor on site to address any pending HVAC issues. We're also working tirelessly with the Connecticut Department of Construction and Services to bring an engineer on contract to assess all mechanical systems that are HVAC, electrical, plumbing, and fire suppression. Dr. Coach and CT State Central Administration were in ongoing discussions to commit and bring on these resources, further concerns voiced by our employees and students. We've invested nearly $2 million to correct mold and mildew issues in the past with the HVAC system. There's currently $700,000 worth of additional equipment on order and another $300K with an investment plan to resolve the problems in the boiler room and the gas filters in the mold lab. In addition, it's my expectations alone that ACC provides weekly updates to the entire campus community with progress updates, establish an online repository to share and provide updates, reports, installation, records, etc. And all vendors will have to check in campus administration so they can monitor the work, verify the progress, and ensure that, again, there's continuity with the aforementioned needs. And then lastly, to our residents and students, you represent our role. Your education, your training, and support are paramount to all members of our community colleges. Your faculty and staff, and really everyone across the system cares about you. So our campus staff and faculty will ensure that you can complete your outstanding assignments, projects, and competency assessments to avoid any impact on pending employment and any direct impact in terms of finances. CT State's administration will do our best to address those concerns. So again, I commend everyone for speaking up. When you meet me, I'm making clear that I want people to speak their truth. And at the end of the day, if we see problems, we will do everything in our power to address it. So that's my stance. More to come, and also contingency planning to address any outstanding impact to the upcoming spring 23 semester.
Thank you, President Dugo. Appreciate that. And again, I was just reiterating some of President Dugo's comments and security and safety is really important for all of us in your prioritize.
May I just ask one question?
Yes, sir.
In one or two sentences, I heard you, sir, but you're telling me that this is going in the process of being resolved. Faculty, staff, students, etc. I have a real concern about that, and I know what happens with gas and fire. And that's a real concern for me, and I'm hoping it's a concern for everybody sitting here at this table. So just in 1 or 2 sentences, it's taken care of or in the process of.
It's in the process of being taken care of. And at the end of the day, if we can't confirm safety, then we will implement contingency plans to ensure that we can maintain instruction for those students. So all options are on the table.
Thank you.
Excellent, thank you. So I just want to add a few more remarks. I always appreciate folks, coming to a board meeting and listening, learning, being a part of the discussion and the conversation, especially with the folks who come during our public comment section. So I just want to make a few comments to just kind of add some perspective and also to clarify a bit. We've heard from our colleagues at Western, and I deeply appreciate, again, your passion and the work that you've put in and your commitment to the institution for the many years, the thousands of students that you've served. I say all the time, and I've said it to our presidents and our leaders, students don't choose institutions because of who the presidents are, who the provosts are. I mean, frankly, students don't know what a provost is. They barely know what a president may be, right? But they know programs, right? They know courses. They know where they want to go with those degrees. And so it's key that the faculty, play such the most important role in our educational enterprise. What I want to clarify is that there is no action from the board right now. Okay, this is still part of a process that that Western's leadership and administration is engaged in with its faculty through shared governance, and that the process will continue. I would also say that this is an opportunity for those wonderful faculty to continue to have that conversation and review data with the administration and the leadership, and try to find opportunities to create new paradigms, to create new values, which is what faculty and curriculum have always done. But as things change, we must change as well. So it is an opportunity. Change is hard. We all know that, right? And incoming AEP President Louise Williams, who I've enjoyed some very good conversations with so far, we agree that we have to do more as the administrators and leaders across our system to listen to faculty, and we're going to depend on faculty to really shape and create those new programs, because that is how shared governance works. Shared governance is shared responsibility, is shared leadership, it's shared accountability. Cannot do any of this work in a silo. We cannot do it without each other. So I would say that the leadership of Western has activated the process. I would say that our leaders across our institutions, we're working hard to try to do this together. Of course, at times things will be uncomfortable if there is a certain tone or certain language that is being used that makes folks uncomfortable. We're going to talk about that. Okay, because we do not want this to be a confrontational or verbally negative experience, but it is going to be challenging. There's no two ways about them. And so we're going to continue to do our best. But the last thing I want to say is that there were comments made by our Western colleagues about faculty, and how I perceived it was that our Western colleagues are perceiving that we are going to be eliminating faculty. That is not a process that we're in the midst of right now. Our 5.20 is a program review process. It is not a process that would lead to the elimination of faculty. So I just want to make sure that we're very clear about that, where we are, what we're trying to do, and how we're trying to do it. So that's all from me right now, Chair. Okay, thank you.
Thank you, President Chang and Dr. Duco, and those of you who are involved. We would now like to go to the approval of the October 20th meeting minutes. Allison Camp, thank you. I'd like to call for a motion to approve the minutes from the October 20th board meeting.
So moved.
Is there a second? Second. Okay, thank you. Are there any changes or corrections? Hearing none, I'll call for the vote. All in favor? Aye. Any opposed? Any abstentions? The motion carries. The minutes are approved. Next, we have the approval of the consent agenda. I'd like to call a motion to approve the consent agenda.
So moved.
Is there a second?
Second.
All in favor?
Aye.
Opposed? Abstentions? The consent agenda is approved. Next, we're going to call on our committee chairs for their reports. First, we have the Academic and Student Affairs Committee. I'm the chair, and I believe we welcome the report from the Academic Committee and the presentation of the committee's action items.
Thank you, Madam Chair. The Academic and Student Affairs Committee met on December 2nd. Regions participating in the meeting, including Regents Howard, James, McCarthy, and Forrest, and Professor Colina Sasenga. In addition to the update on the 2021 sexual misconduct report, received jointly with the HR Committee, ASA considered the appointment to the endowed chair of banking and finance at Central, and a resolution for the adoption of an updated strategic vision for Connecticut state colleges and universities. In regard to the proposed resolution for updating the strategic vision, which is before us today, I would ask that you consider the following points. First, the mission statements of CSU itself, each of the Connecticut State Universities, Charter Oak State College, and the Connecticut State Community Colleges are unchanged, reinforcing the distinctiveness of each of CSU's institutions. This resolution is a review and updating of the strategic vision for CSU, reflecting changes during the past decade that are affecting CSU, some coming from within CSU and some coming from without. The strategic vision resolution provides goals and aspirations to guide the specific mission statements and plans of our 6 institutions, which in turn are developed following the governance processes of each of the 6 institutions. 4 key areas are addressed in the strategic vision. First, student success. Second, innovation and economic growth. Third, affordability and sustainability. And fourth, systems. These 4 areas build on CSU's history of access, diversity, and excellence, accomplished over the years by offering affordable, innovative, and rigorous programs for our students. This resolution adds places greater emphasis on equity, social justice, and a commitment to civic responsibility. And there's a component of systemness, an emphasis on establishing seamless pathways and reducing barriers for students seeking to achieve their education goals. With these also now come opportunities for distance or virtual instruction, which were not available 10 years ago. Madam Chair, on behalf of the ASA Committee, I move this motion forward with a motion to approve.
Thank you. Is there a second to the Regent Bloom's motion?
Second.
Second.
We can now open for discussion and questions. Regent McCarthy, I believe you reinforced this presentation.
Yes, I will. I was part of the group, as Ira mentioned. Sorry. I was part of the group involved in presenting this proposal to the board. And I want to point out just a couple of things, reiterate a couple of things. One is the missions of the separate colleges and universities that comprise CSCU are included here and have not changed from their present mission. So this is founded on the missions that were developed in the usual way with the participation of the separate colleges. And I think that I view the strategic vision as just what the first 2 words that it say, strategic vision. It sets out the broad general principles that will guide us in the future. It spends a very short time honoring our past and reminding us that we have been at this for 175 or so years, if my math is correct. And we want to make sure that what we're seen as doing and what we are doing is building on that strong past that's been so important for Connecticut. And the other thing that we really did strive to do deliberately is to condense this general strategic vision into a very short space. And you'll see that it's 3 pages but a number of those pages are the repetition of the mission statements of some component colleges. So this is a very concise statement. It's a statement of general principles, if you will. And I think it touches all the bases that are important. The hard work, of course, will be taking this vision and applying it in each and every one of the institutions that comprise the system. In essence, support what the committee has done, and I'm eager to answer any questions. And even to admit to having a hand in some of the phrases that are there. If anyone wants to, I'm not going to reveal what they were. If anybody wants to complain about something and they happen to be mine, I'll be happy to own up to it and say mine.
Thank you, Regent McCarthy. Are there any other questions?
We do have Professor Blitz's hand up.
Thank you. I guess I have to ask the question, can you hear me now?
Yes.
Right, I have a comment and two recommendations with respect to the vision statement, which I note is more detailed and specific than the previous one, a definite improvement, and I concur with many of the comments of the two regions who have just presented the details on it. The problem I have is with goal 4, systemness. I note that the term does not appear in either the online Oxford English Dictionary or the Merriam-Webster Dictionary, and is associated with just a few uses by past SUNY Chancellor Nancy Zimpher in the early 1920s, occasionally by healthcare providers, notably Kaiser Permanente, and by NASH, the National Association of System Heads. The definition in Wikipedia, for those of you who look it up, is an error, as it describes systemness in terms normally used for the otherwise well-defined concept of emergence. But there may be some value to a CSCU definition, and we know that new words are regularly coined and added to the dictionaries, witness Stephen Colbert's success, truthiness. That said, I consider it important in using the term that we distinguish between two distinct types of systems, or systemness, if you will, the unitary system and the system of systems. The unitary system has component parts that are necessarily subordinate to the whole and dependent upon it, while the system of systems has constituent units which are themselves systems that can function autonomously, but which benefit from coordination in a larger complex. The difference is between an airplane, a unitary system, none of whose parts can produce flight on their own, and an airport, a system of systems, and not just airplanes, but food and baggage systems, traffic control and security systems, to mention just a few. It strikes me as important to know how our CSU system considers what, as of July 1st, 2023, will be its 2 colleges and 4 universities. Will they be reduced to the status of component parts, centrally administered with limited autonomy, or will they be considered as constituent units, the sites of self-government and local initiatives, subject to mutually agreed-upon coordination, including services from the 2 central offices in Hartford and the one soon to be in New Britain? The staff analysis accompanying the resolution before you mentions 6 constituent units on page 75, which I consider as the appropriate terminology, though lacking further reference to the related concept of system of systems. However, the text preceding the CSU vision statement lists for reference only 3 vision statements other than the previous CSU one, including a vision statement for the CSU university system, but without those of its 4 constituent universities. I know at least one such vision statement for my university CCSU, which is readily available. Others no doubt exist. For the record, the CCSU vision statement, which may be subject to being updated, is, quote, a modern public regional university in ambitious pursuit of knowledge, bold ideas, and innovative partnerships that advance social mobility and drive economic, cultural, and intellectual vitality in the communities we serve. I note that the terminology of constituent units and system of systems is consistent with Section 185 of state statutes creating CSUS, which states, CSUS, quote, includes A, the state universities, which shall be known collectively as the Connecticut State University System, B, the regional community technical colleges, which shall be known collectively as the Regional Community Technical College System. Imagine that will have to be modified by legislative action after July 1st, and C, Charter Oak College. And it concludes, constituent units are used in the general statute, as used in the general statutes, means those units and subdivisions of this section. I suggest two improvements to the vision statement in its current or next iteration. One, include references to the CSU system as a system of systems in order to fully underline the autonomy and integrity of its soon-to-be 6 constituent units. Two, include reference to the vision statements of the 4 state universities to underline their continued autonomy and integrity as systems in their own right. That way, I think we can develop a common vocabulary for a better system vision, avoiding both over-centralization and delocalization. I note recent progress by the current leadership in that direction, and the measures I propose aim at complementing and continuing that. Thank you for your time.
Thank you, Dean. Are there any other comments? Yes.
Thank you, Madam Chair. On the way here this morning, I read an interesting article in the New York Times referring to the California Board of Regents and issues of athletic competition, if you will, between USC and UCLA and UC Berkeley, of which my wife is number one. The chairman of the board of the UC system was quoted, in the end, we're a system, not an individual campus. If that after the proposal passed was, but we never had a situation where a decision by one campus had this kind of impact on another campus within our system. I think two considerations underlie, I think, the notion of systems. One is the one that Chair Lee of the California Board made this morning. Impact of actions taken by one campus may have on other campuses. The second, something I mentioned in my presentation, the system will make it easier and more flexible for students for individual students to make use of the resources on a number of campuses, take courses on different campuses, take courses offered remotely. The notion of systemness tries to eliminate, I think, some of the incompatibilities that affect students trying to incorporate courses and programs from more than one campus at the same time. There are all sorts of systems. I teach political science. There are different kinds of governmental systems, as Professor Blitz was, I think, alluding to. But I think here we're looking at some kinds of particular concerns and benefits. And actions taken or sought by one campus may have a detrimental impact on other campuses, I think, with concerns of, in this case, of the UC board. They can make life easier, just to put it in a very straightforward way, for the students if we have the right systemness approaches. So, yes, systemness is a different concept, but I think it has an important meaning here. I come from my day job involves a large system, the City University of New York, of which I have been a part. I hesitate to say this, for 56 years full time. And there were a lot of benefits achieved over the years by, particularly from the students' perspective, with greater systems that we eventually, and it didn't come easily during the years. I think President Nunez, we know each other from way back, can attest to this also. There is potential excellent value in the notion of systems here, benefits for the individual campuses and for the students.
If I may, Chair Ryan, I just want to add quickly, because, and I appreciate Dr. Blitz's remarks as always, helping us to kind of sharpen and delineate some of our thinking to be more precise and targeted. So I'll just simply add that in the two definitions of systemness that Dr. Blitz presented, I hope that our actions, since I have become the president of the city system, have demonstrated that I would certainly want to trend towards the latter, not the former. I respect the presidents and the institutions and the senates and the governance process. I believe every institution can and should have its own identity and bring unique values to their local ecosystems, but also to every part of the state. So that would be the goal from my office in working with all of our leaders and all of our constituents across the CSCU system. So thanks again for the comment.
Thank you, President Chang and Regent Bloom. We do appreciate all of your discussion. We will now come to a vote. All those in favor, please signify by saying aye. Aye. Opposed? Abstentions? If none, the item is approved. Thank you. Elise Wright is chair of our audit committee, and I believe Elise is chair is call and has a report today.
Thank you. The audit committee met on December 14th. Management provided an update on the auditors of public accounts audits. The APA are currently performing the statewide single audit and will begin audits of the system for fiscal year 2021 and 2022 in the coming months. Management noted that the transition of the Banner financial system for the Connecticut State Community College merger has been ongoing and did not cause any delays on the fiscal year 2022 close. Management discussed the financial close process and audit field work, noting that the auditors were happy with the preparedness and timeliness of deliverables. Management discussed the new GASB 87 standard that was implemented for fiscal year 2022 and requires all leases that meet certain criteria to be recorded on the balance sheet. The system's foundation financial statements were also finalized and received unmodified clean opinions. Grant Thornton presented the audit reports and required communications for Connecticut community colleges, Connecticut State Universities, and Charter Oak State College for the year ended June 30th, 2022. All three audit reports resulted in clean, unmodified opinions. There were no audit adjustments and no material weaknesses or control deficiencies identified. Cone Resnick then presented the CSCU 2020 construction audit. The audit report presented was a clean, unmodified opinion, and there were no audit issues encountered during fieldwork. I want to emphasize something. The exceptional results of this year's audit reports are due to a refinement of the closing process over the past few years and the collaboration of the system office and the colleges and universities accounting teams. I'd like to specifically recognize the exceptional efforts of the CSCU controller, Melinda Cruans, the controllers at the universities in Charter Oak, to include Lauren Loomis Hubble, Shirley Audit, Peter Rosa, Julie DeFalco, and Steve Hurlbert. The directors of accounting for financial reporting at System Office, and that is John Boutel and Nancy Covey, and all of the rest of the accounting teams at the System Office and the universities. They did an outstanding job. No other matters were discussed.
I believe we have no report from the Finance Committee.
That's our holiday gift for Ben and me.
Thank you, thank you. Now, we do need humor too, so we appreciate that. Human Resource and Administration Committee, Holly Howery. We have no report from the Human Resource Committee. We have no report from the Executive Committee. May I have a motion to adjourn?
So moved.
Is there a second? All in favor?
Aye.
Any opposed? We are adjourned. We hope you all have a wonderful holiday season. Thank you.
Yes. Happy holidays to everyone. Take care.
Street has ended.